So it will be very transparent, and if it's not, you let me know, because that is not acceptable to me.
But with the private schools, since you're breaking up the school into many small ones, the same amount of classes are going to be offered. The same level of AP classes are going to be offered because you have less students. And it's going to be kind of irrational to have an AP calculus class for only like 3 students.
And why do you think that's going to happen?
Well,
who's telling you that there will only be 3 students? Here's what I'm hearing, you guys. That there's not going to be a football team, no powder puff, no school colors, no Spartan logo because you're going to break up the school. Whoever is saying that, by the way, I brought that field, that football field to you. Why would I want to take that away from you? That is not true. You are getting lied to, and that bothers me. Not only does it bother me, it pisses me off. Because you deserve better. This is not about taking away, it's about bringing more to all of you. What I ask of you is, if you really want to be part of this process, read the plan. And don't just listen to what other people tell you to do or say. Because that hasn't happened all of this process last year. So, in fact, when I asked, parents said to me and students, we don't really understand the difference between a charter, a pilot, SBAC. There's all kinds of models. But yet, they said to me, we were told to say this, or we were told to say that. That's not leadership. Be informed. Know what you're reading. There will be a lot of lies, a lot of misinformation, because there are a lot of people that are afraid of change, and they want the status quo. That means they don't want things to change, because you know why? Everybody is going to be held to a higher account. Principals, administrators, teachers, parents, and students.
And why is it that we haven't? Why is it that we haven't been truly informed then?
I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Not acceptable. This gentleman had a question, and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, Ms. Flores, you're making a nice claim for honesty and being upfront about things. I wonder if you could explain to the students how we were put under Public School Choice 2.0, and one of the conditions, it was in writing, I believe, that if we reached an API score of 600, we would be removed from Public School Choice. Then we reached one of 603, and suddenly we're the only school in the district to be put under what we call Public School Choice 2.5. How did all that happen? It seems the rules were suddenly changed on us. I wonder if perhaps you could explain that to the kids.
Actually, it's not the only school. So last year there was another school that Midway also got put through.
There was a 1.5?
Yes, there was, actually. There were 2 schools and 1.5. So I really want you guys to get the information, because you're going to start hearing things that aren't true. So when HP was first identified as public school choice, it was before the API scores came out. And there are 4 or 5 different criteria to be on the list, besides just the test scores. And when the results came out, HP was at 603. But HP scores had included Libra student scores. And when we pulled out those students, and we disaggregated the data, HP actually went down 20 points. That's why we had a 2.5. And if it wasn't 2.5, it would have been 3.0. It was already on the list. That when you're a separate school, you can't lump in all the data. It's like you asking me to put your data with Val High School, with Maywood Academy. They're different schools. You cannot include those students' scores to say what's going on here at HP.
But isn't that still HP?
But what I want to know is why
it's a separate, independent school.
Then why is Libra students allowed to participate in Huntington Park High School sports?
Because we encourage sharing. Because we encourage.
Then why not share the sport?
Exactly. Then why?
They don't want to be a part when.
So are you concerned that we want to bring better education to HP?
No,
I'm in the PE department, and a couple of weeks ago, one of my colleagues got a student from Libra who was special needs. They couldn't service that student. Well, plus I must beg to differ because I'm on the school site council here at HP, and you continue to refer to Libra as a separate school. However, they do not have their own funding code, and their monies are shared with our students. So you're premature in saying it's a separate school when it indeed has not gotten its pilot status.
So it will, it will have its own CDS code.
It will, but it doesn't right
And all
now.
of the schools that have a pilot, their data is going to be disaggregated. So this is not new. It just didn't get done for HP. Okay, I promise you that.
Okay, so if their data can't combine with ours, then why are they even like a school, a separate school?
Because we want to provide schools for all kids.
There's like a lot of schools, like new schools that are open, why can't you see them there instead of breaking our school, a part of our school for them? And they share our locker rooms. Why can't they like that?
Because I'm really worried that there's this like negative thing going on. You know, you're all students. We want the same high quality experience for all of you. I just caution you to not get into that, because that's what gets us distracted from the real issue. And the real issue is how do we bring better education to all students.
I think change is good for us too.
I just want to say something about the misinformation, because I want you all to know that as I continue to see misinformation, and I have quite a bit already piled up, and I know where it's coming from, I will not vote for any plan that came from anybody that's been lying to you or to parents or puts out misinformation. Because to me, that already shows the kind of ethical standing that those individuals have and how they respect or don't respect you. And I'm not interested in that. So if there's anybody here who's working on plans, and if you're misinforming and lying to parents and young people, I will not even read or consider your plan, period. Mr. Cortines may, and he may recommend it. I will not vote for it.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask about your own conflict of interest when it comes to the Bill Gates Foundation and the job you're going to take in just a couple of months when you retire off the board. And what are the conflicts of interest when it comes to you and your career and the outcome of these proceedings?
Ma'am, you don't know my track record, obviously.
I know your track record. I know your track record, as do many of these other people. There are 3 plans in front of Mr. Castillo and Mr. Cortines, and one plan is going to win. And I would like to know what is your involvement in the plan that comes out, and which one would Bill Gates like to see happen?
You know, I'm not even going to respond.
No, I wouldn't either if I were you. I'm going to go back and teach, because that's what I do. I teach.
Please, do. Thank you. Well, do you guys clap for someone who speaks to another person that way?
No, like what she said, that's the point. We didn't know, we just like what she said.
But when she, look, you guys, she made allegations. They weren't true. They weren't true. And I can sit here and argue and you know, but that's not appropriate. I'm not going to do that. I spent my entire life since I left Huntington Park working on behalf of children and families. I have no other interest. In fact, the accusation was I'm doing all of this because I want to get reelected. Well, I'm not running again. I'm not interested in politics. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm interested in your education.
And one more thing, you know how you're saying that like we're following misinformation. What if you're just lying to us as well?
What's my interest?
How do we know it? Because you're saying everyone else is lying. How do we not know
But
if you're lying?
what would my interest be in lying to you? Why money?
Because you're retiring soon, so like.
I'm not retiring.
Then what is your question?
want to get reelected.
I'm not running again. I'm not retiring. I'm going on to work for a nonprofit that continues to fight for these issues. You know what? I don't want to choose for you. You decide. My hope is that you're all prepared so that you choose whatever you want.
We are deciding.
You get to decide.
That is the reason why we're here, because we're deciding that we want this education. We don't want to change. Why are you going to force us to change into something like we don't want to? We're here because we want the education to stay the same, so it's like you're forcing us to get into something we don't want.
Well, maybe you're speaking for yourself.
No, it's speaking for all of
We're
us.
not
here for that reason.
So nobody wants to have a better education?
No, we're not.
We want our education. We want public education.
Yeah, great education right
I
now.
want a better education. I think.
Speak up, man.
Not like I know there's another way to get better education instead of breaking up the school.
For the parents, going back to him, I'm pretty open about like this new thing of how it could help us out. But if this school turns into a pilot or charter school, I know that for a fact they get to choose what students could go to there. What happens to other students who don't make it? Do they go back to public school?
That is against the law for any school that's a public school to deny you an education. And especially if you're a public school.
Public.
And not acceptable. And if you're part of public school choice, you have to take all of the students from the attendance boundaries. So that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen.
Yes, because I went to speak to Libra a few weeks ago, and they told me that they choose the student, that they're like a lottery. But I'm pretty sure they use their like knowledge of who they want there, and then they choose from them, like a lottery.
I can assure you that Huntington Park is not going to turn anybody away. They're not. This is your school. And if you're a special needs student, an English learner, which is where most of the students if they get discriminated, it's those students. And it's very clearly outlined in public school choice that is not going to happen. And if that happens, they're immediately disqualified.
Ms. Flores, I know that you're wanting the very best for our Huntington Park students, and I do too. And so I would always make sure that there's research backing the success rate of whatever I choose. So my question to you is, why would you support a small school movement that has already been proven not to increase test scores?
Well, actually, that's not true. And we're looking at, as this young man said, we're looking for more than just test scores. We want our kids to graduate, to go on to college, or to be ready to enter a career, like the young woman, the young student said, whatever that career.
How can you say that's not true? Bill Gates has withdrawn his support from schools across the country in the small schools movement because the test scores weren't going up. I don't know how you can stand here and say it's not true. It's like it is. It's completely readable by anyone that small schools have proven not to increase test scores. They do increase the personalization of students, the collaboration of teachers, but they do not raise test scores. That's why Bill Gates has backed off from that. So for you to stand here and say that's not true, and yet you're trying to be honest and truthful before these students, I'm sorry, but these students are smart, and they can tell what's truth and what's not truth. You continue to say things, and we are sitting here experiencing them, and it's right there in writing, and you continue to deny them. I don't understand. You said you wanted honesty and truth, but I don't see that happening here.
Well, I think you're not. I think you're misleading the students.
How am I misleading the students?
Because that actually isn't true. And first of all,
it is true. They can read it. It is true.
Okay, why don't you bring the research to the students?
I'd be glad to.
Research, but more importantly,
here, you have one right here.
More importantly, we are looking at the models in LAUSD that are working. And if there's a better model, I presume you're a teacher. Tell me your name.
Ms. Werfel.
So, Ms. Werfel, why don't you submit a better plan and show the students what you you might offer them.
I have,
that.
and we are. And unfortunately, though, we've been told by District 6 and other LAUSD people that our plan won't even be considered. My colleagues in the hallways next to me are saying, don't go, the school board's not going to, nah, it's only small schools.
Have you?
And in fact, District 6 shouldn't even be involved in our school reform process, but they have continually directed people out of our classroom, administrators, coordinators, and even teachers. I'm sitting there trying to recruit teachers to a plan that has a track record. However, it's not being recognized because of the interference within LAUSD, particularly District 6. Now, where they may be getting their information from, I don't really know.
Well, there have been no plans submitted, so I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. So the plans haven't been written. Okay, 2 more questions.
Just have a few questions, okay? We can argue about how, yes, we do in fact need a better education and stuff, but this is the problem though. Do you really believe that private schools and charter schools are the best choice to make this happen? And second of all, as the issue that was talking right now a little while ago, like I'm saying, some students achieve and some others, but this is the problem though. You have a very, very huge gap between this. You have some students in the school who achieve a lot and are top performers in like the whole country. And then you have others that are extremely low and just drop out. What do you think is the reason for this? Do you think the charter school is gonna prevent from the private schools, or do you think it's the own students? Because I'm just using me as an example. I've taken AP classes. I've been involved in lacrosse, basketball, marching bands. I've done pretty well in my SAT score as well. I mean, I've been higher proficiency level, and SAT score as well. CST, I've always scored in the advanced range. So like I'm saying, if the system is not working, then why is it that I'm actually achieving? Why is it other students are achieving? It doesn't make sense. See, you shouldn't be fighting and changing the system. It works. It's just a problem though. It's up to the students to make it work. It's up to teachers to be involved in making these things work. So what I believe is that what you're trying to reform isn't a problem. You're not attacking the problem. In fact, you're just making a bigger problem now by changing everything when it's starting to kind of like develop something that's kind of working now. Because our SLCs for a while were actually working, and Discovery, HSA, the medical one, even though it failed in the end because there was a lack of like involvement in it from the students. But what I'm trying to say is this: your private schools and charter schools ultimately are going to fail. Like I'm just going to flat out tell you, they're going to fail. Stanford has proven it, and I know you have a big education and everything, but you're taking a very, very wrong decision with this. It's not going to work. It's up to the students to make it work and the parents. Because as I'm saying, some students decide to drop out and others don't. So instead of focusing on that, focus on students and helping motivate them. Because what you're doing is completely wrong. I'm sorry, it's irrational, illogical, and you're telling us that we're all to get informed correctly. You're the one that should do your research correctly first. Okay, so I'm not attacking anything, I'm just saying, do your research first, and if you're really involved with that, at least make sure that you're actually like punctual and get here at 8:30. Because when I'm in basketball, I have to do right to a game, an hour before the game starts. Because I'm dedicated to it, because I want it to happen. And your lack of interest is kind of showing that you're late, 15, 20 minutes late, and you're not going to replace time. Because you're still going to leave at 10 o'clock. So, I don't know what to say. Like, you really kind of let me down a lot. Like, I mean, you were there the day that the field opened, and you did give us the money, because I was there playing in the marching band. Yet you were still late to this. I mean, if this is really important to you, and we were really important, you would have gotten here at 8:15, 8 o'clock. And that way, if there was any kind of traffic, like that was impeding you to come, you would have still gotten here on time.
So
Okay.
I apologize, I was late. I had to take my mom to the emergency room this morning. And,